Okay, so, we're going to be taking a deep dive today
Yeah.
into some research
Yeah.
about travel and how different types of maps,
Right.
paper versus digital,
Hmm.
impact how we, kind of explore and remember our trips.
Yeah.
We've got this fascinating study from the Journal of Asian Architecture and Building Engineering to unpack.
It's interesting, right? Like, we often think about maps just in terms of convenience, but
Mm-hmm.
this study kind of digs into how our brains engage with, like, spatial information.
Mm-hmm.
So is it better to have, like, a paper map where you have to actively orient yourself? Does that
Right.
lead to better recall? Or do digital maps, with their pinpoint accuracy,
Yeah.
create, like, a totally different kind of mental map?
Yeah, and this study compares both.
Right.
And they did it in Yokohama, Japan,
Right.
which is known for, a mix of modern and historical attraction.
Chinatown.
Chinatown, those beautiful Western-style buildings.
Yeah.
Um, and the researchers, they had a group of Taiwanese and Japanese participants in their 20s, and they divided them into 3 groups.
Yeah. So one group only had electronic maps,
Okay.
another only paper,
Okay.
and a third had access to both.
Got it.
And they all had the same starting spot,
Okay.
Shikawacho Station.
Okay.
And they all visited like a museum together.
Mm-hmm.
And then they were kind of given free rein to explore using only their maps and a guidebook.
Oh, wow. So
Yeah.
they essentially turned Yokohama into like a real-life experiment.
Right.
See how people navigate.
Yeah.
I mean, I imagine some folks just stuck to the main streets.
Yeah.
Others maybe ventured off.
Right. And the researchers like tracked their every move.
Really?
Yeah, literally.
Wow.
They recorded their walking paths, what attractions they visited.
Wow.
And they even had participants like draw cognitive maps from memory
Oh,
after the trip to see like what stuck.
right.
And then they tested them with photos to see if they recognized different landmarks.
Gotcha. Okay, so let's get to the findings.
Yeah.
What did they discover? Did paper or digital win?
Well, the results are really interesting because there wasn't a clear winner.
Oh.
Both had distinct advantages.
Oh, really? Okay.
So let's start with the paper map group.
Okay, what were the perks of going analog?
Well, for one, the paper map group had a same road walking rate that was like 15% lower
Okay.
than the digital group.
Okay.
So they were way less likely to backtrack or stick to routes they'd already been down. They explored more diversely.
Paper maps encourage, like, adventure.
It seems like it, yeah.
Okay.
They also visited more of the attractions that were highlighted in the guidebook, which kind of suggests a deeper engagement with the sites.
So maybe they were, like,
Yeah.
planning their routes around those recommendations.
Yeepee.
Okay, what about memory, though? Did paper maps help people remember more?
That's a great question, and it seems like the answer is yes.
Really?
Yeah. So in that landmark recognition test,
Okay.
the paper map group fully recognized more of the photos. Researchers think that by physically orienting themselves, like matching the mat to what they were seeing,
Yeah.
and making decisions based on landmarks may have like strengthened their memory encoding.
It makes sense, right? It's like
Yeah.
the difference between reading study notes
Totally.
and like physically writing them out.
Exactly.
That act of writing it down
Mhm.
helps you cement the information.
Yeah. The paper map kind of forces you to be more involved
Right.
in navigating and looking for those landmarks and choosing which way to turn.
Yeah, it's a more immersive experience.
Absolutely.
But digital maps have their own benefits, right? Like,
Sure.
I mean, that ease of use is hard to beat.
Yeah, absolutely. The digital map group.
Yeah.
They were amazing at creating those accurate cognitive maps.
Okay.
They were much better at placing attractions correctly on those hand-drawn maps.
So they had a better sense of Yokohama's layout,
Yeah.
even if they weren't exploring as freely.
Right.
Okay.
And of course,
Right.
there's that convenience factor.
Oh, yeah.
Participants loved being able to zoom in
Right.
and have that instant confirmation of where they were
Yeah.
and the ability to search for new attractions that might not have been on the paper map at all.
Right. Right. I can see that.
Yeah.
Especially if you're short on time or you
Yeah.
want to find something, off the beaten path.
Absolutely.
But I'm curious about the different participant groups. Didn't they have both local Japanese people
Right.
and Taiwanese visitors
Uh-huh.
who might have been less familiar with Yokohama?
Right.
Did that affect the results at all?
It did. It's really interesting. The
Okay.
foreign participants,
Yeah.
despite, being less familiar with the area,
Right.
actually had more accurate cognitive maps
Oh, wow.
than the locals.
I would think knowing the city would be a huge advantage.
Yeah, you think so, right?
Why is that?
The researchers think those foreign participants were engaging more actively in landmark recognition to compensate for their unfamiliarity.
Yeah.
They were paying more attention.
Oh,
But like really trying to make sense of the layout
right.
and piece together that mental map.
Wow. So even if you know a place really well, you might not be.
It's fascinating, isn't it?
Yeah. You might not be forming those strong memories.
Right.
Unless you're actively engaging.
Exactly. And that brings up like a key point of the study.
Right.
Even with a digital map, that active exploration rather than just passively following directions seems to lead to a much richer experience.
So even with our phones guiding us, we should still look up and take in the sights and notice those details.
Absolutely. It's not just about getting from point A to point B.
Yeah.
It's about how we experience the journey.
Right.
What we take away from it, those little moments of observation, maybe even getting a little lost sometimes, those often become the most vivid memories.
It reminds me of that time I got totally turned around in Venice.
Oh, yeah.
With like this huge paper map, frustrating at the time.
Yeah.
But I stumbled upon the coolest little cafe.
Oh, nice.
Just completely off the tourist track.
Awesome.
Okay, but we've talked about the pluses. What about the downsides?
Yeah.
Every rose has its thorns, right?
First, paper maps, charming as they are, can be a bit clunky. Participants mentioned it was hard to pinpoint their exact location.
Right.
Sometimes they lacked detail.
Yeah.
And, well, they're big.
Oh, yeah. I know that feeling.
Yeah.
Trying to refold a giant map in the wind, looking like a total tourist.
The classic travel struggle.
Okay, what about digital maps? What are their drawbacks?
Well, battery drain is a big one.
Yeah.
Especially if you know that's your only navigation tool.
Right.
And then there's the potential for distraction, which can take away from just being present. And, of course, you're at the mercy of network connectivity, no signal, no map.
I've had those mini panic attacks.
Oh, yeah.
When my GPS signal dropped.
Yeah.
In a new city.
Yeah.
Okay, so each map type has its strengths and weaknesses. Anything else jump out from the research?
Yeah, one really interesting finding was that neither map type really helped people grasp the three-dimensional aspects of Yokohama.
Interesting.
Like needing to cross a bridge or navigate those overpasses to change elevation.
So even with a good 2D understanding from a map, those real-world elevation changes can still catch us off guard.
Yeah, interesting.
It kind of highlights a limitation inherent to all 2D maps.
Okay.
No matter how detailed they are.
Yeah.
They can't really capture the real world's complexity.
That's a great point. It makes me wonder if a 3D map, maybe one you could experience through augmented reality,
That's a great idea.
would be more effective at creating those lasting memories.
It really speaks to how technology is reshaping how we travel.
Right.
But even with these advancements, that basic human desire to explore
and understand our surroundings. That remains the same.
Yeah, and that's maybe the biggest takeaway. No matter which map you choose, the key is to be an active participant.
Totally. Engage with your surroundings
Yeah.
and make those travel memories stick.
That's a great way to put it.
Yeah.
And this study makes you really think about
Right.
how we engage with these maps.
It's a form of visual communication
Yeah.
we often take for granted.
It's true. We just expect them to be there, guiding us along the way.
Yeah.
But this research suggests that the type of map we choose can actually shape the experience
Right.
and even the memories that we make.
It's fascinating, right? Like how it shines a light on those cognitive processes.
Yeah.
So when we use a paper map, we're forced to engage in more active spatial reasoning.
Yeah, we have to orient ourselves,
Right.
match the map to what we see, make decisions about the route.
Exactly. And it seems like that active engagement really helps memory.
Right.
It's like our brains are working harder to process the information, which makes the memories stronger and more enduring.
Whereas with a digital map, it's easier to just zone out and follow the little blue dot.
Right.
Yeah.
The technology does a lot of the cognitive heavy lifting, which is convenient,
It is.
but maybe at the expense of those richer multisensory memories.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's like a trade-off then between convenience and cognitive engagement.
Yeah.
Digital maps offer ease of use and accuracy,
Right.
but paper maps might foster a deeper connection to the place.
Yeah, I think that's a great way to put it.
Yeah.
It raises the question of What are we prioritizing when we travel?
Yeah.
Is it the most efficient route?
Right.
Or are we seeking out an experience that's going to stay with us
Right.
long after we've returned home?
I think for most people, it's a bit of both.
Probably.
We want the convenience of the technology,
Yeah.
but we also crave those authentic,
Right.
memorable experiences.
And that's where the study's findings are so valuable.
Yeah.
They offer these insights that can help us be more intentional about how we use maps to enhance those travel experiences.
Okay, so if we're looking to really immerse ourselves and create those lasting memories, maybe a paper map is the way to go.
It's definitely something to consider, especially if you're exploring somewhere new.
Yeah.
That act of orienting yourself with a paper map can lead to unexpected discoveries, a deeper understanding of the area's layout.
Plus, it's a great conversation starter.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Like you're unfolding this map, trying to figure out where you are.
Right.
You're more likely to interact with locals or other travelers.
Absolutely. There's a certain charm
to
those shared moments of discovery.
Helping each other navigate a new place.
But we can't forget the power of digital maps either.
Right.
They're invaluable for trip planning.
Totally.
Finding those points of interest, navigating those overwhelming transportation systems.
Yeah, and they can offer so much additional information.
Right.
Historical facts, restaurant reviews.
Yeah.
You name it.
So it sounds like the ideal toolkit includes both.
It does, right?
Yeah.
It's about picking the right tool for the job and being mindful of how that choice might shape your experience.
Now, this study took place in Yokohama,
Yeah.
which is a city that has a mix of modern and historical attractions. I wonder if the findings would be different in a more rural or less densely populated area.
That's a great question.
Yeah.
Would those advantages of the paper map, the memory, boost the exploration? Even more pronounced? In a setting with like fewer obvious landmarks and less structured routes?
It would be fascinating to explore.
Or maybe digital maps would be even more crucial in those environments where getting lost could have bigger consequences.
Totally. This research opens up like a whole new avenue for exploring how maps affect our thinking processes, our emotional experiences across all these different environments.
Yeah, and it's a reminder that even something as simple as a map can really impact how we see and interact with the world around us.
It speaks to the power of design and how those subtle choices can really shape our experiences.
Yeah, this deep dive has given me a lot to think about.
Really?
Yeah, I'm already planning my next trip.
Nice.
And I'm going to be much more intentional about my map choices.
That's great. I'm curious what stands out to you the most from all this.
What really hit home for me was that even with all the technology at our fingertips, there's still so much value in those old school methods of exploration. Sometimes slowing down, engaging with a paper map can lead to a richer, more memorable experience.
I completely agree.
Yeah.
It's a reminder that convenience isn't always the most important factor.
Right.
Sometimes it's worth embracing the challenge and the discomfort to truly connect with a place.
So next time you're planning a trip,
Yeah.
think about the experience that you're after.
Right.
If it's efficiency and accuracy, a digital map might be the way to go.
Totally.
But if you're craving a more immersive, memorable journey,
Right.
consider dusting off that paper map
Yeah.
and letting it guide you on an adventure.
I love it.
Yeah.
Awesome. It makes you wonder, if those foreign visitors, because they were a bit lost, ended up like absorbing more of the city. Like those little details you might miss if you're just, laser focused on getting to the next destination.
I think that's a really good point. I remember when I first started traveling internationally, I relied so much on paper maps, mostly because data was outrageously expensive.
Right.
But looking back, those were some of my most immersive and memorable trips. I'd interact with locals, ask for directions, really just soak it all in.
There's something about that sense of discovery, right? It's like the disorientation almost makes it better.
Yeah.
More vivid.
Yeah, it's like your brain is working harder to make sense of it all. And that just kind of creates a stronger imprint.
Yeah.
Whereas when it's all laid out for you,
Right.
those details maybe just fade a little bit.
Yeah. The study also found something interesting about our perception
Okay.
of the environment. Neither paper nor digital maps really help people grasp those three-dimensional aspects of Yokohama.
Oh.
Things like crossing a bridge or needing to use an overpass.
Okay.
Those elevation changes
Yeah.
often caught people by surprise.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
I mean, a 2D map can only convey so much.
Yeah, it's like the difference between looking at a picture of a mountain range versus like actually standing there and feeling the scale and the grandeur of it all.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It highlights the limitations of those 2D representations.
Yeah. They provide a framework,
Yeah.
but they can't fully capture the nuance of a place.
It makes you wonder if a 3D map,
Right.
maybe one you could experience through AR, augmented reality,
That'd be cool.
would be more effective.
Yeah, imagine like walking down the street and seeing like historical overlays and restaurant reviews popping up.
Yeah, or like a little virtual guide leading you on a tour.
Yeah, that's a really interesting idea.
Yeah.
It shows how technology is constantly changing how we experience things.
Yeah.
Especially travel.
But even with all these advancements, we still have that basic human urge to explore, to get lost, to discover. No, it's like adventure is built into us.
I think so.
Right. And maybe, just maybe, disorientation is part of what makes it so rewarding.
Makes you think,
It does.
Yeah, maybe those detours, those moments of being lost are like essential parts of a memorable trip.
So what advice would you give our listeners then? Based on this research, what can they do to make their travel experiences better?
I think the key is to be intentional about your map choices.
Right.
If you're going somewhere new and you really want to challenge yourself, consider going old school. Grab a paper map.
Okay.
Embrace getting a little lost, talk to locals, and see where it takes you.
It's like a treasure hunt.
Right.
Where the real treasure is the experience.
Exactly. And even if you're using a digital map, for convenience, remember to put your phone down every now and then.
Yeah.
Look up. Take it all in.
Engage.
Engage. Yeah. Those are the moments.
Right.
I'll stick with you.
I'm thinking about my upcoming trip to Kyoto.
Oh, nice.
I've always wanted to see those bamboo forests.
Yeah, they're beautiful.
Now I'm debating, phone GPS or paper map and really getting lost.
I think either approach would be amazing.
Yeah.
But maybe the paper map would encourage you to wander off the path a bit more.
Right.
Discover something that might not be on the digital version.
I like that idea, after all.
Yeah.
Sometimes the best discoveries are the ones you stumble upon.
Totally. And remember, travel is about more than just checking things off a list.
Yeah.
It's about immersing yourself, challenging your perspectives.
Yeah.
Creating those memories that last.
And sometimes the most unexpected detours lead to the most unforgettable stories.
I think that's true.
Yeah. It's funny how just a simple map can make us think about, how we travel and what we want out of these trips.
It really does. And this research has got me thinking about the future of maps and how technology might keep changing.
Right.
How we explore. Imagine 3D maps in those AR glasses.
Oh, yeah.
Walking down a street and seeing all these historical overlays.
Oh, wow.
Restaurant reviews popping up. Maybe even a virtual guide.
Yeah, like a personalized tour.
Yeah.
Oh, that would be incredible.
Yeah.
Though part of me hopes paper maps are always around,
I know what you mean.
There's something about them.
Right.
That feels so real.
Yeah.
And they're such a good way to start conversations.
They are. You're on a train. Unfold a map.
Yeah.
Someone leans over and says, "Hey, are you going to that bakery too?"
Those little moments.
Right. And there's just something about that mental challenge too of using a paper map.
Yeah.
You know that feeling when you finally figure out where you are?
Totally. It's like a little puzzle you solve along the way.
And maybe that effort.
Right.
That engagement with the map and everything around you is what makes it so fun.
Maybe.
I'm already thinking about digging out some of my old maps.
Oh, yeah.
And just seeing the world in a different way.
I love that idea.
Yeah.
So whether you use paper or digital, remember, be present on your trip.
Yeah.
Look up from your phone, talk to people.
Yeah.
Embrace those weird little moments.
Yeah.
And just let yourself get lost every now and then.
I love that it's all about that sense of adventure.
It is.
That openness to new experiences.
Yeah.
And that's what makes travel so great.
Absolutely. And who knows what you might find around the corner.
This has been such an interesting look at paper versus digital maps.
Totally.
Hopefully it's given our listeners some things to think about.
Yeah.
Maybe new way to approach their next trip.
Yeah. Happy travels, everyone.
Yeah, safe travels.